What's up guys, welcome back. If you're coming here from part 2 of the little mini series videos that we're doing, you'll notice that we haven't moved. This is part 3, we're getting after it. We are swapping out the front main seal of the Corvette, the front timing cover, and removing the harmonic balancer because that's what you need to do to get to all that. We have to drop the subframe to move the power steering pump out of the way, remove the radiator, air box, AC, and a few other things to get to it all. So we're gonna get right into it. Thank you guys for coming back for another video. Like I mentioned in the last one, I have never had an oil leak on my car and been able to figure out how to fix it. So we're on a mission. We are going to fix our first oil leak by ourselves ever and get that success rate under our belt, if you will. I know it's not great, but I hate oil leaks. All my cars have oil leaks, as you saw in the last video. So let's just go right after it. I'm gonna put you guys in the engine bay. Let's go. Now we can kind of get a better idea what's going on. So right there, that is the sensor that I was not able to get out. So we have to get the harmonic balancer off, which is the white line here, but we have to drop the subframe, move the oil cooler, drop the power steering rack. We gotta do something. So first, let's clean up all this water and coolant and AC fluid and all that good stuff. What I'm getting worried about at first glance is that there does not seem to be a lot of oil. We removed all this and let's hope for the best. We're gonna take care of front bumper. Should be 2 screws here. And I don't think he has it supported any other way. So we'll see if it's easy to remove. All right, so because the power steering cooler is right in front of the harmonic balancer, we're going to actually drop the subframe. So that's what we're gonna get started on right now. And we'll probably have to disconnect the power steering cooler and go ahead and just kind of like let it hang a little bit. And we gotta drop the subframe like 5 inches. I watched some videos on YouTube, not all the way through, typical, but it looks like we should be able to do it. Maybe we'll have to raise the engine a little bit, but that's how we're gonna get to the harmonic balancer. Now, I posted in Facebook again, and realistically the AC wasn't working all that well in this car, and it's about 30 pounds worth of weight, and I discharged it when I removed the condenser, I believe it's called, and there's an AC pump there, and I don't wanna have any more issues, so I think we're actually gonna tackle, while everything's out, the job of removing the AC compressor and maybe removing the hard lines. There's a big module by the dash. There's a big module right here, which we're gonna keep, but other than that, all the lines and everything we're gonna remove. And it makes one less belt that can fail, a little bit less weight, it's about 30 pounds, like I said. And I wanna clean up this engine bay. I wanna see what we can do, because I hate this about the other car. There's so much crap going on, so many wires, and I wanna focus on this car to make it more of a competition car in a sense of when you need to service something, you have what you need where it is and not a bunch of stuff you don't need. The AC is nice for when we drive on the street, but I'm not gonna drive this thing on the street all the time. And if I do, I'll get a couple fans that I can mount to the bash bar or to the cage and just kind of blow me and make it somewhat cooler, but like not actually cold, because it wasn't even being cold in the first place. But with that being said, we're gonna take off the wheels and we're gonna start dropping this subframe. We just gotta drop the coils, undo a couple bolts, and it should start coming out relatively easy. So let's get after it. The sway bar disconnected. We have obviously the shocks and the upper control arms on the Weiss fab all taken apart, so that's nice. Now we don't need to drop the power steering rack from my understanding. We're gonna have to keep the engine hoisted up. I gotta figure out how to do that by the oil pan, I presume. And then we're gonna start unbolting the subframe. And I gotta check, I don't know if the motor is mounted to the subframe at all. So if it is, we're gonna unmount the motor from the subframe first and then start dropping the subframe, keep the motor propped up. Hopefully we don't have to jack up the motor, but just kind of start lowering that down. What's funny is I actually just bought a RPM transmission and diff with a 290 gear because it grinds in second, the transmission does, and right now it still has the stock. I believe it's like the 330 gear is in this car. So I'm taking apart the whole front end to fix the oil leak. I'm gonna put it back together, and then I think we're 2 weeks out from having to drop the whole rear end that Andrew's gonna come help me with. Shout out Andrew. I don't think he knows that yet, but we're gonna make a video of that. So after like realistically a month of ownership of this car, the whole drivetrain will have come out and be put back in, which is like more than I ever did on the other car. So, but I'm stoked. I'm really motivated to really dig into this chassis a little bit more than I did in the other car, and then kind of replicate that stuff on the Vegas car when we go there, the West Coast car. So let's get a time lapse going, start dropping the subframe. Let's get it. Low pry bar action, couple jacks, and we got it all pulled out. So we still have this that's a little bit in the way, but I'm hoping that the puller will be able to get in there and kind of pull it out. So now we just got to remove this nut. We got another one arriving on Saturday. This is the AC condenser, AC pump, whatever it's called, that we're going to be removing. And then we got to figure out the pulley puller. Now, looking into it, it doesn't seem like there's an excessive amount of oil, but there is some fresh looking oil. So if there was anywhere that it would come from, I do believe that it would have been back there, but it's very it's very shiny, especially the front there towards the bottom. So I am thinking that this was our culprit, and we should be dialed, ready to go. So let's get after it. We're gonna remove that nut and go from there. We run to the hardware store. We needed a 27mm 12 point, which we did not have, for the good old harmonic balancer. Oh, can we zoom? Oh. All right. So according to my knowledge, we need a specialty puller. Because this has an aftermarket harmonic balancer, there's no way on the inside to grab the pulley. So you essentially use these center bolts here. You remove them and then you screw on, and like that's what pulls it out. We hit up Juan to see if he has one, but we won't get to that until tomorrow or maybe this weekend. So in the meantime, we're gonna start working on the the AC condenser, AC compressor, whatever the line is called. So we're gonna remove this big old thing right there. All right, let's get after it. Gotta love this. So we got the two bottom bolts out. This one can't be pulled out because of the AC line being in the way. And then you gotta get these little sucker right there that you just see a pin out, but that won't come out either because the chassis is in the way. So we technically have room to drop the engine. We could drop it quite a bit. So those are the two bolts that we removed. But I don't know if I really want to drop the engine right now, considering that we'll have to put it back up, even though it's just like on a one jack, so it's easy. So we're gonna focus back our attention on the harmonic balancer. Juan hit us back and explained to us like how we could do it with like a standard pulley puller, and we just got to go to the store and buy a bolt. So we'll do that tomorrow or the next day. Once we get that out, we'll swap out the cover that comes in on Saturday, drop the engine, take that pump out, and we'll start the reassembly process. But there shouldn't be that much more work to do, but it's looking good, and we'll pick it up tomorrow. All right, let's go. We got the AC compressor out. So the frame rail gets in the way. Funny enough, I was having a really hard time getting the AC line out. I dropped the engine and it wouldn't go low enough. The frame rail was still getting in the way. And then I realized that this bolt isn't a slide off bolt. And I was actually starting to get worried because I thought, once I even get the AC lines off, how am I going to pull it out because the frame rail is going to get in the way? Well, this actually has a 7mm on the end of it. So you unscrew this, then the whole AC compressor assembly twists. You can remove the AC lines from the bottom, and then everything just kind of like slides out by itself. So got a ton more room in there to see down what's going on in the engine, but also for serviceability, I'm hoping. So glad we got that out. Now we're just waiting. We forgot to order the Torx 40 because I didn't realize that it was a specialty bit that we needed to order. So made a post on Instagram, have a few guys that said they have it. Unfortunately, they actually don't. And right now we're just seeing if somebody has one. If not, we have one on order that'll be here on Monday or Tuesday. It's Saturday right now, so we might have to put everything down to a halt. But hopefully somebody local to Tampa has it. I can go pick one up that's not too far away, and we can get cracking on this weekend some more. Hopefully get the car put back together as soon as possible. So that's where we're at right now. We're just playing the waiting game, but you guys don't realize that because you're in a video. Woo! It's getting messy in here. All right, so we got the pulley puller. We removed the whole AC system. We bypassed for the heater core, or I don't know what this is called, but we bypassed it. Put in, we got a plug for the old tank here, right there, the overflow tank. This plug went to the heat for the car. So we still have the module inside of the cabin, but I'm not gonna pull the dash right now. But we got, you know, a good amount of weight pulled out. We got this pulley puller, and I forgot, you're supposed to buy a Torx 40 plus bit, and I didn't get one. Did some research. Shout out to the people on Instagram for helping me, Alex specifically. He told me that Northern Tools had a set. This is a Impact Plus torque bit set, and it's not an IP 40, it's a TP 40. But I looked at the differences between normal and the correct one, and it's hard to see on camera, but essentially the grooves aren't as deep. And I tested it out, got our bolts out, bought the wrong pulley puller. I bought it for a European cars, not GM or like American essentially. So this will not fit inside to put the pulley puller back, but I think we could just ugga the pulley back on. And the screws that, the bolts that it obviously comes with, don't fit either because they're a different thread pitch. So we're gonna run to the hardware store, buy this size bolt in this thread pitch, and we're gonna be able to pull that dampener out, which has been madness. But I'm kind of glad that, you know, we had the issue and we had to wait for parts and stuff like that, because that really allowed me to take the time, since I was gonna work on the car today anyways, really allowed me to take the time to pull all the heater core stuff out and all the AC lines out. So there was essentially 4 more lines running down right here that impacted your view of everything, that I was able to remove them all the way back to the engine bay. So it's a lot cleaner of a look. We got a lot of stuff removed. I can't wait to put the engine back. Obviously removed the battery terminal, and this ripped out. So we got to redo this. It's a problem after another, but we are getting down to it. We are doing this shit. Let's go. You guys don't realize it, but between the last clip that I filmed and this new clip, it's probably been a whole lot of time. As we can see from the pool of oil that is down there by the seal, running down right here, as you can see, I presume that we have found our leak. So I think that the O-ring there, or the gasket, did actually fail. And obviously there's a bunch of oil, you know, around it everywhere. So that looks pretty fresh. So we are going to remove the cover, and we are going to install the new one that we just got in the mail. That came with a new sensor, a new gasket, OEM gasket, clean it all up, and get right after it. So let's do that. Not sure how much we really have to do that, but the water pump was in the way, and these bolts are hard to get access to right there. So I just went ahead and removed the water pump. Obviously created a puddle on the floor. Drift is life at Juan. I think that was you. So I think we definitely found our culprit. But let's go ahead and get all this shit removed and new thing put in. Had to remove the water pump, got everything off. We're getting it cleaned up right now. We did realize that the seal was completely missing from the old pan, as you can, from the old cover. As you can see here, it's black. No black. Looked all under the car, can't find anything that looks like the seal. So that makes me really happy. We're 99.99% sure that we have resolved the issue, even though it's not put back together yet. Now we gotta figure out where to put everything, but it's looking really good. We're getting it cleaned up, and we're gonna start the reassembly process. I'm hoping to drive this to the office tomorrow. It is currently 1 o'clock, so I think I can do it maybe like 7-ish hours based on how long I've spent, because most of the time was spent, you know, just running around, running errands to grab stuff. So let's get after it. Shout out Clutch of Dick. And that is it for the Corvette. So we street drove the car a little bit. We haven't found any oil leaks. We still have to put the front bumper on and hook up all the lights. we have not done that, but I'm not gonna bore you guys with it. We have a couple exciting weeks coming up. We are planning a trip back to Vegas to take the West Coast Corvette out of the trailer. Finally, after long overdue 2 months of, I think, it's sitting in the trailer. We have our buddy Jared that's gonna take it. He's gonna put on E85 because they don't have 93 fuel, and it's something that I've wanted to do. So we got the injectors, fuel pump, all the lines, all the connectors, all that good stuff for, and Jared's gonna take care of that for us. We have the Wisefab kit that we gotta put on. We'll film a video on that. And we have a couple trips planned out to Motor Enclave, Left Foot City, and a few other things. So we have a busy few weeks coming up, looking really forward to it. Really happy that we have officially fixed our first oil leak. I'm hoping that it'll last long term. I cannot guarantee that, but so far we've probably put 15-20 minutes of driving into it and we have no signs of leak coming out. It was definitely that front main seal. We didn't need to do the cover, but we got that done also. Fresh gaskets, fresh seals, fresh plugs, fresh everything. We're super happy. Thank you guys for watching. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe if you stayed through for the whole video. I really, really appreciate it. And we'll catch you guys, I believe, at Motor Enclave next time. Thank you.